So this is my chat. Probably get a transcript for this, but trying to obtain some records. I had association with Shine because I believe it was Shine, but I believe it was Shine, but it's so long ago, and it could have been a one-off issue. And I don't know, everything that I've done in regards to past housing and things is all disappeared like it didn't ever exist, you know, and yeah, see, I don't know these details. Anyway, like, I'm just trying to see if anything's been kept or recorded, but I don't know the dates or anything. You know, even while writing this, I'm like saying, oh, maybe they referred me to another law firm to pick up the thing. But I don't know. I remember being booted out of Shine after the event. I really have no idea like what happened. So they could have referred me to another lawyer that had association with them, or it could have been one of their lawyers. Like I said, you know, I actually have a very vague memory. So I think that could have happened actually. They have been the original contact, and then I needed another lawyer from another firm or something. But I remember being booted out after all this stuff happened from Shine. So I'm really like just blurring out of the blurs that I have, you know, and just to try and gain some evidence of just past existence. You know, I would love to win, you know, just outstanding lawsuit against this Queensland construction builder that sort of made a ridiculously expensive house, put in a lot of lavish things which I hadn't even approved. They said it has a little small garden, but then it was like they had some big indoor garden and all these lavish things that I didn't actually order. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting some. And it's like I've never been able to recover any money. You know, I felt like all my money was spent. I think it was being used just to make them profits as opposed to used to give me a decent residential household. So I think all that expenditures all the over-the-top expenditures went with lavish things, which I hadn't even requested. All I wanted was a place to live where I could park my butt and live forever in. And it's like they went way over the budget by like, you know, $600,000 or something. And yeah, so like I felt like I was really taken for a ride. Like no residential builder builds like the way that they had, and they're a commercial build, and I doubt very much they've made many residential buildings. You know, they keep saying the construction has to be strong enough to outstand the weather, and it's like, you know, at some stage, which is why things have to be made out of marble, which is one of the toughest, most endurable substances you can get, you know, and you're like going, well, so's steel, you know, and so's concrete, you know. Oh, they're seeing what they have. I don't know if I want a lawsuit. I just want to know if there's evidence, like, of this having existed, because I know it happened. I just don't have evidence. I mean, I didn't keep any of it evidence. I didn't even take pictures of the house or anything, you know. And I was just interested to see if these people actually have any, because I go to like house insurance people, and they like have no evidence that I ever insured with them. And so I was just interested in seeing, oh, I wonder if these people have evidence, because everything seems to disappear like it's all been just a big false lie and stuff, a big make-believe, and it's like it really happened. I remember, but I just don't have any evidence, you know. So I believe in associating with them, I had my second birth certificate, but I don't know. They're gonna check these archives and things. I'm not gonna put because it's got personal details there, but I just feel so screwed over. Like, I just go to the Gold Coast and I think, you know, just everything's been gone. You know, even the guy who bought this really cheap luxury home that I had won. This is like, you know, little quotation marks. They didn't actually. I don't believe that they lived in it actually. I believe they gave it back to the charity and they gave it to another person. See, this is like, I cannot say the name of him, but I believe, like, they said, do you know who this was again? I cannot say the name of him, but I believe it was construction worker who had once worked for Seawell. I don't know. The construction of the house was very similar to Seawell's resort construction, which was one of the issues. Yeah, so it was too much like the resort. I mean, it looked like, you know, the resort has huge gardens on the inside. They can grow all the time, very pretty. But, you know, this is like a residential household, you know? And it's like, not a fucking resort, you know? And even though, you know, sure enough, it gives the essence of luxury. I mean, not many people have indoor or even rooftop gardens anymore, you know, in houses. But, you know, you're substituting practicality for resort style embellishments that shouldn't actually be in any residential household. I mean, no one has ever ordered this, and they sort of reduced its importance by stating that, oh, it's just going to be like a small little decoration. And it's like a huge decoration in the foyer, which is like, you know, the style that the resort has, you know, with their rooms around an indoor garden. So it's like, I mean, you can say, okay, this is like really quite nice, but, you know, on another way, it's impractical. It's not really for a residential. And it looks great in a resort and everything. I mean, everyone loves to sit by an indoor garden and relax, but, you know, in a residential, you think, oh, it's just money wasting, you know, embellishment. I mean, sure enough, it's nice. Okay, but any garden is nice. You can relax outdoors under a tree and have this nice relaxing feeling. So I think it was just wasted resources, wasted time and effort to sink your more money. You know, it wasn't ever really ordered, and this small garden was a huge thing. Yeah, so, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think they went through an external lawyer that had been put to deal with the issue. Oh, look. Looks like we do have you in our system and one for our customer. Okay. Oh, look, I'm getting somewhere. Why would I want this now? Why would I want this? I don't know, just out of interest, just to see if it's been recorded, if it's there, you know, keep a copy. So what am I benefiting out of this? I'm not really benefiting anything. I expect that if I ever did want to take the issue to court, then the response of the judge would be, hey, I've seen you once, I've seen you twice. what makes you think I'm going to change my mind after two jurisdictions that give you not the result that you want, which is like, I don't know, money back, you know, to a house cleared to build something that looks more like an ordinary residential household. Hang on. So I do believe that anything's going to change the judge's jurisdiction, but I mean I wouldn't mind that. I mean, who the hell has had this faulty construction like this? You know, no one in Australia has had it. Everyone's usually saying, oh, be very cautious with dealing with people, because people don't have all the money in the world, even though we want everyone to live in $1 million apartment. And so usually there's this kind of respect that you give to the average person, and a lot of people get, so I'm just putting in a little quick thank you, and then I'm gonna close this chat, and then that's it. Excellent. So anyway, like I was saying, no one in the country has ever had such, you know, a shoddy residential building being built for them. I mean, everyone could have all these great, lovely luxury things put in their construction, but I think there's a medium construction law that sort of helps guide towards architects and people who are making houses for other people to help them to sustain from putting in lavish embellishments and putting like a same or similar construction, so that there's some sort of medium grain going on. And it's like that the medium of construction was totally aborted to give me a luxury house that was very similar style to SeaWorld, to the point that it could have been the extension of the resort itself. So I still feel like I was cheated of a heap of money. I wasn't able to obtain the house for more than 3 months. I was treated very rudely by debt collectors. I don't even know if we were supposed to be approached by debt collectors. You know, they seem to be these really rude people who just, you know, want to barge in and take everything all of a sudden. They looked like they were coming from SeaWorld even, but I do believe that they had a van parked around the curb. So I don't believe that everything that they took was taken to SeaWorld, but I do believe that they would, you know, just barging, being very rude, very rough, not wanting you to obtain any support. And it was a very sour time, and I think everyone was just rude, and I think they were so busy being rude they didn't really see that, you know, there's a real person standing in front of them, and whose whole idea of having a house built for them is to have a house built for them that they can live in for life. You know, not to have overexhausted budgets and all your money taken and ripped down just to, you know, chuck you out of the house and shred down the house of all its belongings, you know. You know, that doesn't sound like a satisfied customer to me. It sounds like a big screw job that just did its job. It made people money, but it didn't do anything to obtain a sound residential house for the person who had the money, you know. Everyone's too busy collecting money that they're forgetting, hey, you know, there's actually a person who wants to have a home to live in forever, you know. And you know, it's like it all seems like a free-for-all, you know, once people start realizing, hey, you know, there's just more and more money, there's more and more stuff in the house to collect, we can just do anything we want with it, you know. And the ending point to this whole foul catastrophe was, you know, trying to sell it. The best bid that I got for a quick sell was 150 or 180 grand, And even then, you know, they did this little magic trick to make the house look like it was invisible, because they do have magicians around the area, who do little tricks all the time, and they couldn't even let the person who aching for the dream of owning a house, they couldn't even let them off with $150,000 to $180,000. You know, in fact, they were much happier making the house go away, and probably saving it for some other time or whatever. And they were much happier letting the house go away, so that this person who they ripped money out of the hands and made an excuse to rip money out of the hands of, so that they can't get not one dime out of anything. I mean, they were much more happy leaving me with that one dime than leaving me unhappy and with, you know, a small 150 to 180 grand. I mean, they made every move to make sure that there was not one dime left in my fingers, and I think that was the end result that they wanted. They wanted not one dime. I mean, they think, oh wait, you know, that person's still got a chance to get, you know, a tiny bit of money. Best to rob them of that and leave them without one dime. And that's all I am, some stupid screwed over crap, someone who's been totally screwed over and left without one dime, you know. And I didn't want to sell it for like that small amount of money, but you know, it was saying at the time, a little bit of money is better than no money. Otherwise, you know, everyone's going to take it from you anyways, and you're not going to get any money. And when it was going to be like handed over for like 150 to 180 grand, they were like, no, we can't do that. You know, best just to make it invisible and stuff, and leave this person without anything. I mean, you know, and it's like, ridiculously, you know, so it's like, I wouldn't have been happy to have sold it for 180 grand, but it would have at least left me a little bit of something, you know. Otherwise, was left with nothing. Went back home, I had my 5 million gold bullion. Well, I had my 5 sheets of gold bullion, you know. Someone took it out of my room, you know. They were down, I don't know what happened to it, whether they took it themselves, for themselves, or whether the dump people took it. Either way, you know, that bullion was never seen again. It went somewhere, but it wasn't left with the real person who owned it, you know, and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, so what? Like, I go home, that happens, and then I'm being fucked up forever, you know, and having no chance to make any real money, having no chance to live any kind of life, you know, with a little bit of respect or dignity, like just left as a nobody with no money. And that's all I've ever been ever since, you know. And it's like, you know, so I don't know, I'm just trying to connect with my past a little bit, I guess, to see if anyone can agree that this actually happened. So, I mean, everyone else is just, SeaWorld's just charging forward on their $10 million, making 10 to, I don't know, they could be making $50 million a year. I don't know how much they make, but I know that they at least make 10. And it's like their extensions extend right to the barriers of whatever property that I had. And it's like, I don't know. The only person who's been affected negatively is this. I mean, they got their money and they continue on with their little lives and their little jobs, and then them building their extensions, and then it's like everything's fine for SeaWorld, you know. And the only person who has actually suffered, you know, by not having the things that they needed, you know, was the person who had the money that whose supply they were exhausting because of their over expenditures in the construction and whatnot. So anyway, it was a ridiculous land. It shouldn't even be made for the residential because it's quite very expensive. It should be like sold to someone making millions of dollars. Like, you need the millions of dollars coming in to afford it. Otherwise, you know, people are screwing you over. It's like, do I look like, you know, I'm someone who makes $10 million a year? No, I'm not. I had a one-off chance to have a couple $1 million. I wanted to buy myself a sustaining home, and I just get a big screw job. you know, and I have to go home to people who don't even want me there, and I get clobbered at for, you know, next 20 years. I'm still living at home with people who still don't want me there, but are putting up with me, and it's like, I'm just, you know, I'm turning not into a person anymore, I'm just turning into like a household pet, you know. And it's like, oh, as long as she's got some food, she's happy, you know. So it's just a, you know, really big letdown for someone who could have had, if they had a proper architect or lived in a proper place, maybe they would have had a sustaining home and be like everyone else who just sits in their fucking homes or their lives, you know. But, you know, they want to screw me over with all my money. I get screwed over, I don't get left not even a dime. And it's like, you know, who's the only person suffering? Is the only person who doesn't have any money anymore, you know. So that's why I had some light interest to get in contact. So like I said, maybe by next Monday I'll have some sort of feedback. If not, I'll contact them again. It's good that they have the online chat. I like to chat rather than talk because I don't always like to talk, but you know, I think this issue can be completed quite successfully without having to be interviewed by other people. It's like, I virtually knew nothing about the scenario and nothing about the courts. I mean, I'm sure it was like the Gold Coast courts or something, but yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was a big letdown. So I'm just seeing if like anyone have any records. If they come back and say, yeah, we got some records here, I'd be like, yeah, you know, well, I can sort of identify with my past a little bit, you know. Maybe have one more sweep of, hey, I think I really do feel like, you know, I've been screwed over, but they're probably going to say, oh, we don't really care anymore. And it's just like bending a stick, you know, in the first place. And now it's like, now that we don't really feel like you, we're not going to bend any more sticks for you. So, yeah, I don't know. But at least I'm finding out, and if they say, money, sorry, we don't have any records, we don't know what you're talking about, it's like, well, that's where my searching can come to an end, and I may as well just pretend like I never lived. I mean, I may as well be saying that, like you never lived, nothing ever happened, and I guess you should be just starting again, you know.